gonna punch right in his mouth. The only thing that matters to me, punch him in the mouth. I hope he got a good mouthpiece, because I'm gonna punch him in the mouth, right where he talks. I'm gonna punch him in the mouth.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 11 of the BoxNation podcast. I'm your host Dev Sani, and that voice that you heard in the intro, you may have noticed was not mine. On April 14th at the O2 Arena, Terry Flanagan aims to become a two-weight world champion. The man in the opposite corner is threatening to punch him right in the mouth. That man is Maurice Hooker, and we've got an excellent and quite hilarious interview with him coming up. Joining me today is a man I sincerely hope will never punch me in the mouth. It is, of course, Mr. Steve Lillis.
Punch him in the mouth. Gotta punch him in the mouth. He's soft.
How you doing, Steve? That was great. I mean, we'll
punch him in the mouth.
But please don't actually punch me in the mouth.
Not gonna punch you in the mouth, but I'll punch him in the mouth.
You good, Steve?
I'm good, Dev.
Yeah.
I'm good. Good to be here sitting with you, mate.
And Steve, Valentine's Day this week. You're an old romantic, aren't you? So what you got lined up for Mrs. Lillis?
I'm an bounder, aren't I? You know what? I haven't planned anything
really
yet. I'm going back to Manchester after this. She's going to be a bit of a shock. I've got to come back to London on Wednesday night because I'm at the Peacock 9 o'clock on Thursday morning seeing Triple D. So Daniel DeBoss ruined my Valentine's Day. I'm sure we might go out tonight or something though.
Okay, all right. Well, Daniel Dubois is to blame for any lackluster Valentine's Day in the Lillis household. Now, Steve, my favourite interview this week, there is certainly no love lost. You spoke to Maurice Hooker, who doesn't have a kind word for Terry Flanagan ahead of their clash on April the 14th. We hear from not one, not two, but three British light heavyweights who'll probably end up fighting each other at some point. One of them is Anthony the Beast Yarde. We grab a quick word with undefeated super featherweight Lyon Woodstock and Steve Lillis. Has Steve Lillis got a rant this week? Well, let me put it this way. I would advise you bank on it. Now on April 14th at London's O2 Arena, undefeated American Maurice Hooker will take on our own undefeated Brit Terry Flanagan for the vacant WBO World Super Lightweight Championship. The fight forms part of a double header at the O2, and Billy Joe Saunders will be defending his world middleweight title against Martin Murray. Now this is the first time we've really heard from Hooker in the build-up to the fight in April, and I'll tell you what, he does not disappoint.
Maurice, tell us first of all your opinion of Terry Flanagan.
He weak.
Well,
he's soft.
What makes you think he's soft?
He haven't fought nobody. He fight little guys. Yeah. He won a champion at 135.
So is that why you think he's soft, yeah?
Yes, that's what I know.
What's he going to find it like fighting somebody like you, who's 6 foot 2 inches tall?
Man, I'm gonna wake him up. I'm gonna shock him.
And how are you going to shock him when you come to London?
I'm gonna punch right in his mouth.
Well, what sort of punches are you going to punch in his mouth and knock him out or whatever you plan to do?
I hit hard with both hands, so he's going to do.
I mean, Terry's saying he's more suited to 140 pounds, but what's it going to be like fighting somebody like you who's been at that weight class ever since you turned professional?
You never find nobody. You never find nobody with skills like you find nobody with a dab.
I mean, you don't
do everything better.
You don't seem to have much of an opinion of him. Is there anything you think he does well?
Yeah, he run a lot. He do that real good.
So what do you think of his power?
Power? He don't have no power. He pity pad.
Is there anything at all you've got to be careful to avoid that he does well?
Yeah, hold and fight dirty.
Yeah, why do you think he's a dirty fighter?
I've been watching this fight. He hold a lot. He uses forearm to the head. He do a lot of stuff dirty. When you get tired.
So are you gonna when you come to London, are you gonna ask for a strong referee?
Referee don't matter. The only thing that matters is me punch him in the mouth.
You're gonna punch him in the mouth a lot by the sounds of it. Are you gonna cause some damage to his mouth?
Yes, I'm gonna stop him. I'm gonna show him who the best at 140.
And what round do you predict?
It can be the first round. It can be the second round. It can be the third round. But he going down.
Tell us, how did you get into boxing, Maurice?
Street fighting. I love fighting.
How old were you when you started boxing?
I think around 11.
And what made you go to the boxing gym?
A lot of fights on the street.
In what way? Did you come from a rough area, or was you just a kid who loved fighting?
Come from a rough area.
Yeah. And what was it like in the area of Dallas you come from?
A lot of drugs, a lot of gang, a lot of killing, a lot of everything.
Did you see any of your friends fall by the wayside through drugs and gangs?
All of them. I'm the last one standing.
So where are your best friends from childhood now?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope they're alive.
You've been a professional for 7 years. How hard has it been for you getting to this stage of your career?
It's very hard. I've been an underdog almost my whole career, and I just take it as that.
Have you had to fight on the road a lot?
I fight on the road a lot. I go to hometowns a lot to fight other people. I always been an underdog, and I always came out on top.
What's it going to be like for you? Have you ever left America? Have you ever been outside America?
Yes, Mexico.
Yes, you've never been to Europe though?
Nah.
What's it going to be like for you fighting in London?
The same. It's the same ring, the ropes, everything going to be the same. I'm not worried about fighting in London. And
then when you beat Terry Flanagan, what's your plans for the 140-pound division? Who do you want to bash up then?
I want the best, and only the best. I'm not going to be like Terry Flanagan and Cherry Pig.
I get the impression you don't like Terry.
I can't stand him.
Why? He's not the worst guy. He's not said anything bad about you. Why do you think that is?
I just don't like him because I'm finna fight him. I don't like him. I don't like his face, his smell, nothing about him. We can be friends after the fight, but right now he's my worst enemy. He think very little of me. He think I can't fight. So when I see him, he gonna know it's a fight. I'm gonna punch him in the mouth. And before we let you go, can you give a message to Terry Flanagan and his fans? I hope he got a good mouthpiece. I'm going to punch him in the mouth. And I'm ready for him. I'm ready for whatever he brings to the table, whatever he try to do. It's not going to work. His little pity pad, his dirty fighting, his running around, his grabbing, it's not going to work. I'm going to punch him in the mouth, right where he talks. I'm ready for him. Can you give us, before we let you go, we will let you go now, can you give us one more I'm going to punch him in the mouth at the top of your voice? I'm going to punch him in the mouth.
That was fantastic. Now, Steve, I've got one question which really stands out to me. With all this talk of punching Terry Flanagan right in their mouth, is there a danger that Maurice Hooker is going to neglect the body?
I don't think Terry, when he spars, even needs anyone to take aim at the body. Just jab and punch me in the mouth, because if Terry can evade that, he's going to be plain sailing. He doesn't like Terry Flanagan. I mean, Terry Flanagan is the most inoffensive fella you could wish to meet. He doesn't say boo to a goose. But Maurice Hooker, for some reason, has just decided he doesn't like him.
He was balmy.
You know, what's going to be? What I was thinking, I don't think Terry even rise to the bait though when it comes. Terry's that sort of person. Can you imagine though if Maurice Hooker turns up, or Maurice, as he told me before the interview?
Oh really?
He told me I had to call him Maurice.
They set you straight away.
Set me straight before I even pressed the record button. I was thinking at the press conference, Terry won't bat an eyelid, say boo to a goose. Right. But when they have the press conference I can see Billy Joe Saunders going to war with Maurice Hooker on behalf of his pal.
That's a shout.
Terry and Billy Joe have just been in Spain together for a couple of weeks training. I can see the real beef fight weight. Martin Murray and Billy Joe Saunders are pals, it seems. They're looking at some of the social networking. Yeah. Terry Flanagan never bites. It's going to be between Saunders and Hooker, the fight week beef. Or the press conference bants. When he starts saying, punch him in the mouth, I don't think Billy would take too kindly to that.
I'll punch you in the mouth. I can well imagine. Steve, tell me about Hooker's height. What do you know? Because I've heard him listed as anywhere between 5'11", and I think you said he was 6'2" in that interview as well.
I saw 6'2". So if we go in between and say he's just over 6 foot, that still makes him extremely tall for a junior welterweight. Sorry, I get slapped for saying light welterweight these days. And Terry will never find anybody, has never fought anybody that tall. Because against most lightweights, Terry was the much bigger man because of his size. And Terry would be a solid junior welterweight, but the height of he never have fought anyone of this height. And he's I've been speaking to Terry about it. And I think he's might ask Bradley Skeet to come up and spar, which is ideal.
Yeah.
And there's a guy local in Manchester who's doing quite well called Bilal Raymond, who trains around the corner from his gym. I think they're going to bring Bilal in as well to prepare for Maurice Hooker. But look, it's a fight I'm looking forward to seeing. You know, they're both unbeaten. I think Hooker's had 3 draws in his 26 fights.
Darlis Perez was one, wasn't it?
Darlis Perez was the most recent one, and then he sparred with Crawford, sparred with Spence, so he's got a good schooling. And although I'm sure Terry will be an overwhelming favourite, it's a tough night for him, I think.
I'll tell you what, just hearing that interview though, for me, this has breathed a whole new life into that fight. I didn't know too much about Hooker, I just knew it was a great name, a lot of wordplay and fun you can have with it. Now it's not just a great name and an undefeated record, he's a very talkative and mouthy American who's going to come over here and rile Flanagan up, or try to anyway.
Well, he's going to punch him in the mouth. Yeah, he'll be fun when he's over. It'll be interesting to see if he comes over, before the fight week to deliver his knockout verbals.
Well, let's hope so, and that's a huge show at the O2 Arena on April the 14th. Tickets are available at axs.com. We know O'Hara Davis is going to be on the undercard as well, and another man who will be hoping to get on the undercard is Tom Baker. Now, Tom is a 14-0 light heavyweight from Chingford. He's a former English and Southern Area light heavyweight champion who's had a bit of a hiatus from the sport. He's been inactive for nearly 2 years, but he's recently re-signed with Frank Warren. Here's Tom Baker with Steve Lillis.
Tom, fantastic to see you, and the news that you're making a return to boxing.
Yeah, mate, I'm delighted myself, and looking forward to getting back into it and get winning again. Yeah, some big fights out there.
Yeah. Was it June 2016 your last fight, or the summer of 2016?
It was, yeah, back in June. That was my last fight, and then I went a bit pear-shaped. I broke my left arm. It took a while to get fixed. Now I've got that mended, and now I'm just looking forward to getting back.
And it's going to be at light heavyweight?
Light heavyweight, yeah.
Got to ask, there's one name out there, another London name.
Yeah.
Anthony Yarde.
Yeah, he's doing well. We've got to give him credit. He's doing really well, and a couple of fights down the road. Let's who knows? We might be able to get it on. But he's a lovely fella, and something. If you want to beat someone, he's the man to beat. He's number 1 in Britain. He'll probably be the one I want.
It's interesting to say that some people are critical of him. Some people talk of Bullioni, Hosey Burton, Callum Johnson. But do you think he's the number 1 in Britain right now?
Yeah, I do. Well, look, you can't. Frank Bullioni, he won the British. He should be number 1. He's British champion. But Anthony Yarde, he's a good fighter. I personally myself, Bullioni should be number 1 as he's British champion.
But you're going on the box rec rankings, yeah.
That's it, on box rec. But Yarde's number 1. All the talks about him. He's doing his what can I say? He's doing his job, doing a good job in there. And but like I said, he'd be out of all the names you just mentioned, Anthony Yarde is the man I want to fight. He's the man to beat. To be the best, you've got to beat the best.
And you say you only need a couple warm-ups and you'll be ready?
Yeah, 2 to 3 fights. Just had a chat to Frank. He mentioned Yarde. I said I'm happy to take the fight. But like I said, 2 to 3 fights maybe at the end of the year. September, October. Who knows, we'll get it on.
When can we expect to see you back in action?
Looking around April, May.
And where are you going to be training for the comeback?
That we haven't. I've trained with Mark Tibbs. I've been with him from day one. Where I'm going to be training, we don't know yet. I'm going to have a chat to him and discuss and work out some plans.
Yeah, it was like Mark's still your man though to train you.
Yeah, he's my man until I finish, to the day end. Good trainer.
Well, Tom Baker we expect to see in the ring soon, and he clearly has his sights on Anthony Yarde. It looks like Frank Warren is making a bit of a play in the light heavyweight division, as he also recently signed Manchester's Lyndon King Arthur. Now, Lyndon is 9-0 with 7 knockouts, and is out of the same camp up north as red-hot super featherweight Zelfa Barrett. This could be a breakout year for Lyndon, and here he is with John Parry.
Lyndon, your power is one of the things that has caught people's attention. I mean, that's something, I guess, when you do get on the big stage, you'll be looking to to show people what you can do in terms of knockouts? Everybody loves a knockout, don't
Yeah, I mean, but this is an entertainment. No one likes to see a 12-round fight. I think Anthony Joshua said that. So yeah, my power is one of my main assets. I've got it naturally. So, and I think that when I hit, when someone's there to be hit and they're actually throwing back at me and I can hit them clean and stuff like that, I think it will show.
For those who haven't seen you yet, what else do you do well, Lyndon?
You know, I'm pretty good at everything. You know, my defense is quite good. My jab, I've got a great jab. I've always had that from the day I walked in the gym. It just come naturally. I'm just an all-round good boxer. I can fight if I need to. I mean, I've got heart. I feel like I can take a good punch. It's not a good thing to be able to do, but you know, I feel like I can take it. So, I feel like I can do everything. I'm not bad at anything.
You're just outside the British top 10 at the moment. There's a few interesting names on that list. Who's on your radar?
You know, the top three are the Bugalone is a British champion, Anthony Yarde is there, and Jose Burton, they're up there. They're all up there. They're all doing their thing, but the number one spot is what I want and what I'm aiming for in Britain and in the world. So whatever gets put in my way is what I look to take out. You know, as a boxer and as someone who wants the best for myself. So that's where I'm heading. That the number one spot is what I want. Whoever's there at the time, whoever I have to beat him on my way.
I think Anthony Yarde has got that sort of mantle at the moment, number one in Britain. He's grabbing a lot of headlines. What do you make of him? You
know, you can't discredit what he's doing or what he's done. He's beating who's in front of him and he's knocking them out. Everybody likes knockouts. That is why everyone's pushing towards him. So I can't take away from him. He's good. You know, we'll see when he gets to another level how good he is. I rate him. And I think when me and him fight, if it happens, I think I'll beat him, but I'm a boxer, so I'm not going to say anyone's going to beat me. But you know, he is who's making the most noise at the moment. So yeah, I rate him.
It's a fight you'd value, is it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, everyone wants the big fights, and he's becoming a big name in the light heavyweight division. But that's what we're here for. The best need to fight the best, innit? And I feel like I'm going to be the best, and I feel like he's heading to be the best. So eventually, if we're both moving in the right direction, our own journeys, we're both on our own journeys, but in the end, it will happen. It will happen, and you know, I will look to be victorious.
You're in the right stable for that to happen. I mean, what in your own mind, what's the sort of schedule to fights like that? What's the old, you know, how long before we're going to see you in sort of really meaningful fights?
You know, I don't, like I said a minute ago, whatever my team thinks right for me is what I will do. And if that's sooner rather than later, then let it be. If not, then I'll keep winning and I'll keep focusing and I'll keep in the gym, I'll keep listening, learning and training and what will be will be.
But as a fighter, do you feel you're ready for Yarde and Buglione?
Of course. I mean, you know, I rate myself highly and I'm confident in myself, I'm confident in what I can do. I just, like I said, I need the exposure and right now I think I've got it. And like I said, when them fights happen, we will see if I'm ready. I believe I am. Of course, I'm a fighter. I'm going to say I'm ready for anybody. I'll take on the world, but right now we're just taking it fight at a time and step by step.
Who's sort of impressing you in the world light heavyweight division at the moment? I mean, there's a lot of big names in there.
Yeah, there was like Ward before we retired, obviously. But before that, it was Kovalev. He's the one with the monster power and the monster jab, the good boxing ability. I like him. I rate him a lot. Adonis Stevenson. I think them two need to fight, him and Kovalev, and then we'll see who's the number one then. But like that Bivol's good. But for me, Kovalev, I think he's the number one.
Are you a great observer of boxing? I mean, is the bits that you can sort of take from other fighters?
I like to watch the smaller fighters as well because they're fast, and you know, as a light heavyweight, being fast is a good asset to have. To be faster than your opponents is always something that's good. But my favourite fighter at the moment is Lomachenko. I'm not a southpaw and I'm not that weight, but he does things that a lot of fighters can't really do. So I know we've been taught in this gym to take little things from everybody, and because that's what Brian Hughes taught Pat, and that's what Pat's taught us and Paulie and whatnot. To watch fighters and take little things from them. Each of the fighters have got good at their own things, so we learn to watch and and take from them and take from him and put it all together and try and fit us into one. So, you know, that's what I do when I observe.
Final question, you're a big guy for a light heavyweight. Are you going to stay in this division?
You know, I feel like I make the weight quite easy. So, yeah, I'm gonna stay here for a bit. If I move up, then I'll move up. It'll be naturally. It won't be nothing forced. I won't start pumping weights to try and get up to cruiserweight. But if the fights are up there, once I get up there, and once I'm done with the division, then of course I'll move up. I mean, to be a multi-weight world champion, that'd be a huge thing for me. You know, so we'll see what happens.
That's the ultimate ambition.
That's the ultimate ambition. And heavyweight, if you know. no. But you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Well, we'll hear from Anthony Yarde shortly. But Steve, talk to me about the newbies, I guess. Although Tom Baker's coming back.
Yeah, Tom Baker. It's really good to see him come back. I mean, he last boxed in June 2016. And he was a super middleweight at the time, always a big super middleweight. It was a case of when he would go to light heavyweight, and that's the weight class he's coming back in. And at the time, he was on a collision course with Frank Buglioni. You know, people, you know, he was a little bit behind Frank. It was a fight that was being talked up and spoken about, and plenty of people were fancying Baker. And there was a bit of more needle to it because Frank had left Mark Tibbs.
Right.
Tom was with Mark Tibbs, who's still going to continue training him.
Yeah.
And he's coming back at light heavyweight, and he's not messing around. He sees himself, and I think he will. If I have one warm up or two at the most, then he'll be straight in with Anthony Yarde. Which, and as you say, you heard from the interview, he's certainly not trying to avoid Anthony like a lot of people are. And I think that's going to be a fight we will see this year.
Well, that's exciting. What did you make of Lyndon Arthur there as well? I mean, he's after that #1 spot in the UK too. He mentioned Anthony Yarde's name. It seems like Anthony's got a bit of a target on his back.
He's a talent. This kid is a talent.
Well, Lyndon, yeah.
People might think I'm a bit biased because I live in Manchester and I see a lot of these lads around the gyms. I'm not sure he's related to Zelfa. I think he might be his cousin. He's a real talent, and there's some really good, knowledgeable people like John Evans, who goes on Boxing Matters, and he thinks Lyndon is the best thing since sliced bread.
Really?
He's absolutely sold on him. There's a lot of people sold, and Pat's been pushing him for a while, Pat Barrett. I think he's got an outing coming up on the 2nd or 3rd of March. I think he's boxing on one of Pat Barrett's shows, and then he's going to fight, you know, on Pat's show and Frank Warren's shows. And I think it's only a matter of time before he's in the title mix-up. He's a talent, and in 12 months, I think a lot of people will know about him. Very excited for Lyndon Arthur. Like Zelfa Barrett, he lives the life. You know, similar sort. You know, boxing sort of thing, like a lot of boxers, kept him off the streets, and it doesn't say a lot in interviews, Lyndon, but a real good sense of humour when the mic's off. Very funny man, and a nice guy too.
He's a big guy as well. He's 6'2". I mean,
yeah, he is big.
I was aware of Lyndon before just because of the link with Zelfa Barrett, but he was also at the BoxNation Christmas meal in December, obviously, and him and Anthony Yarde were in the same room. Now, we'll hear from Anthony Yarde very shortly, but there's a real size difference there in terms of height. I think Yarde is maybe 5'11", maybe at a push, and Lyndon Arthur's huge, 6'2". I think he's got him listed as, so he certainly looks the part.
Yeah, these guys like Anthony and Lyndon, you wonder where they go in the future, because where it's such an in boxing these days, you know, where the cruiserweights are now over 14 stone, where it used to be 13.8, and that big gap between light heavyweight and cruiserweight now is big. It's not like before. You'd look at these guys like Anthony and Lyndon and say, well, only a matter of time before they go to cruiserweight. But cruiserweight's a few pounds heavier than it was, you know, a decade ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Lyndon Arthur mentioned that he envisages fighting Anthony Yarde at some point. Yarde is in action later this month at the famous York Hall. He'll be in action against Tony Avalant from France. So that's on the 24th of February. It'll be live on BoxNation. I think there's probably a handful of tickets left. There might even not be, but go to Ticketmaster.com to find out if you can get along. Well, hearing those comments from Tom Baker and Lyndon Arthur, and recent things going around online from British champion Frank Buglioni, it does feel as though Anthony Yarde is a man with a target on his back. Yarde spoke to Rob Tebbett from Behind the Gloves last week, and here's what he had to say about fighters calling him out.
So you've had 12 amateur fights, 14 pro fights. That being said, I'm struggling to remember somebody with that few fights who gets called out as much as you. You think that's fair to say?
You know what? I think it's only recently people have started to call my name, but that's boxing. Even though people know they will get knocked out or they will lose the fight, they just want that big fight. They want a payday, or they don't feel like they got long left in the sport, so they're trying to get a big payday. Or they might have some sort of delusion about them or self-belief. I think they can win the fight, so it's exciting. And the reason, if I was a nobody, no one would be calling me out. But again, the more people calling me out, or the more people trying to affiliate with themselves with me, it's only going to be a positive, because it's clear that I'm ringing bells. I'm number 1 in England on BoxRec. Everyone has their opinion.
It's kind of like a compliment.
It's a compliment, yeah. That's what it is. It's a compliment. I've got a good world ranking now as well. 12 amateur fights. To have done this already, it's good.
Now, it seemed to me like you were talking about Frank Buglioni there.
He's been the only one that's had my name in his mouth. But again, talk is cheap. Like, I'm one of them people, yeah. Cool, business is business, but I'm not a bullshitter. I'm not gonna go out and start calling out Andre Ward and saying come out of retirement, and then come out of retirement to boost my name. But then when he sends me something and says, yeah, come, let's make the fight happen, I'm there using 101 excuses about who I'm fighting next and this person, that person. I'm not gonna mention his name if I don't want to fight him. That's what's happening in this case. He's called out my name several times. He's literally gone into the peer pressure from the fans, put my name out there on his tweets and things like that, saying, yeah, Anthony Yarde can get it next. That was a long time ago. That's after he fought Ricky Summers. Since then, I've progressed. And the guy, I don't know if he's planning on trying to do the right time or trying to have me as his last fight or whatever, but he's not on fighting me right now.
You strike me as such a cool, calm customer that but then again, you're a fighter, so there's kind of that contrast, Yeah. You sit in front of me, you're a very nice, charming young man, and then I see you go and knock somebody senseless. Does the latter part, the fighter part of you think, do you know what? Do you get annoyed? Do you get frustrated? Does it bother you? Because Buglioni recently, in particular, has said some quite close to the knuckle stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what it is with me, yeah? I don't really watch like all that kind of stuff. The only time I hear about it is from like people like yourself that just mentioned it, or friends that people say they send me clips, and I don't even watch it because right now it's not my focus. When he agrees to fight me, or anybody agrees to fight me, cool. You're in my lane now. You're in my thought process. I'm fighting you next, so you're my focus. Right now it's nonsense. People can say what they want. In school, I always revert back to school because school is your learning days. In school, there were so much people that done all this, talking. And when we got it cracking, or things started happening, zip. Or when you say, huh? And then you like, zip. And that's what I see in this situation.
Moving away from Frank Buglioni, I promise this will be the last time I mention another fighter. Lyndon Arthur has just signed with Frank Warren.
I don't even know who that is. No disrespect again. That's what I'm saying. I'll just tell the public what I'm like as a person. I'm in my own little bubble. And I don't pay attention to anything that don't concern me. So right now, the only thing that concerns me is my progression, who I'm fighting next, and trying to climb up a ladder. So anyone other than myself, I don't care. I wish everyone the best. But when self-preservation first, and I'm just in my own little bubble. You know what it is with me, yeah? I'm a fighter. I've said this from a while ago. Put me in there with whoever, and I'll demonstrate. Where I was brought up and how I was brought up, it's okay. Go to the same school. You're the strongest in my year. I'm the strongest in my year. So how we gonna settle this? Either we fight, or I'm the strongest in year. It was like a childish mentality, and I've still got that mentality. I want to be the best at everything. Everything I'm doing anyway with passion, and I got a passion for boxing. So as a light heavyweight boxer, I feel like I'm gonna be the best in my division. I may not be now. You have to prove yourself and things like that. But again, I don't think there's anyone in the world
even in past, they had 12 amateur fights, and in their 14th professional fight, they're performing or they've done what I've done.
Lyon Woodstock. He's a red-hot super featherweight. He's 10-0. He's 24 years old. He looks good. He sounds good. He's one of promoter Frank Warren's ones to watch. And here he is with Steve Lillis.
Leon, you're in Frank Warren's office and you've extended your deal with Frank, so all going well for you?
Yeah, man, everything's going good. I've just signed with him for another 3 years. Happy with everything, how it's going. He's given me some dates where I'm going to be out. He says minimum 4 fights this year, which is a big, big plus for me. Which I can defend my belt and move on to bigger things.
And then was Frank the person you always wanted to be promoted by? Because I remember you said before that when you was a kid, you always used to watch Frank Warren's shows and you think, I want to be with him.
Literally, that's what I just said. Like when I was younger, when I used to watch boxing as a kid, like I always used to think like, if I was ever to become a fighter, which I never thought I actually would, I'd want to be signed by Frank, because I just liked how he just developed fighters and that whole like era in my head, you know, like end of the 90s sort of thing. Like I don't know, it just gives me some sort of feeling when I think about it, do you know what I mean? So to get actually like signed by him was well strange. I thought it was a joke. I remember that when I got the call, I was sitting at the bus stop waiting to go town, and I got I think I got a message or something, and it was from Jason Longshot Sports, and I was amateur at the time. I was 18, and he was saying like, I've seen you about doing this, that, and the other. He's like, I work for Frank, and he's like, we're interested in doing some sort of work with you and see if we can get you signed up. And I thought it was a joke. Like I was like, who's this guy? Do you know what I mean? So I text my coach straight away, like, there's this guy saying stuff about signing and Frank Warren and this and that. Like, I don't know who it is. What should I say? And he was like, give him my number and tell him to call me. So he did, and then obviously we found out it was legit. And I just told them, like, I was like, yeah, let's sign up now, like. But he was like, no. He's like, he said, give us 2 more years in the amateurs so I can develop him a little bit more, get him some experience, and then we'll take it from there. And I was just like, this is crazy, man, what the hell? And then that's when I just, like, from there on, I went straight into the elites. I only had like 16 fights or something like that, like, and just demoed everyone, got to the semi-finals. It was crazy, man. Everyone was laughing at us when we was there, do you know what I mean? Everyone's had like 70 odd fights, and I was just there with like 16 odd fights.
So 4 fights, is it this year Frank's planning for you?
Yeah, 4 fights. I think my first one will be around April time, so we're just waiting to get that confirmed, what card it's going to be on. But really looking forward to it, man. My first title defense as well, so because I didn't really get to defend the Midlands belt, so this is going to be fun.
The Craig Poxton fight, your last one, great learning fight, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I learned to try and not be ill before a fight. But no, man, it was a great fight, man. I think my circumstances made that fight a lot better and substantial than it was going to be had I been 100%, you know what I mean? But you gotta look for the pluses in everything, do you get what I'm saying? Maybe the fight would not have been that big because it got like 1 million hits on Facebook, do you know what I mean? I've never had any of my fights get 1 million hits, so maybe, I don't know, the gods were willing it to be that way for me to get that recognition in that way, do you know what I'm saying? So I ain't complaining either way. It was a great fight. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Poxton's a great guy. I went down to go and spar him, to be honest, like about 3 months ago, I think, but I don't think he's back in the gym yet. I'm not sure. He wasn't there, so I did move around with someone else. But yeah, man, it's all Gucci.
So this year, learning fights this year?
I'm always looking to always better myself and better my legacy in the making. Do you get what I'm saying? So I ain't looking for no easy fights or anything like that. Every fight's always a learning fight, even if it's like hard as nails. Do you know what I mean? You're still gonna learn. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's all development. It's all moving forward. So I'm just looking for good opponents now. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to get some padded out record full of journeymen and bums. Like, I'm not into that. That's not what boxing's about. I'd rather not rob my own fans, do you know what I mean?
And the big one, Zelfa, is that going to come next year, do you think?
Next
year, this year?
Like I said, I'm willing to fight whenever. Like, it makes no difference to me if we fight now, tomorrow, next year, in 9 years. Like, it don't matter. Like, I'm not bothered. I'll fight whoever's put in front of me. Like, I have my opinion and voice it, who I'm interested in fighting, etc. But, like, whenever they make it is when they make it. I'm just waiting for it, you know what I mean? So, it's not a fight that I'm, like, hanging on to. I ain't bothered if it happens or if it don't. It makes no difference to me.
And one last question before I let you go. I'm not down with the kids. What's this? It's all Gucci mean?
It's all good, man. It's all good. It's all Gucci.
Steve, Lyon Woodstock, I'm a fan.
Yeah, you can't not like Liam. Really, he's a likeable kid. Has plenty to say for himself, you know. Sometimes, you know, there is that nastiness, you know, like there should be with boxers. There's also that little cheeky smile sometimes with some of the stuff. You know what? He's just, I think he's just signed what he said there. He signed a new deal with Frank Warren, and he's going places. You know, a lot of people talking about the Zelfa Barrett fight, and you know, it's inevitable. It will happen, but I think we're still some way off it. If you think when Zelfa boxes at York Hall on the 24th, that'll be his 20th fight. You know, Leon's only had 10 fights. He's some way behind Zelfa in the experience.
Zelfa said as much himself.
At the moment, Zelfa, and this is no slant on young Leon, Zelfa would be the one you'd fancy at the moment because he's had that, you know, twice as many fights. He's fought more experienced men, and you know, Leon's still working his way up there. You know, but you know, you think in 18 months' time, that's likely to be a 50-50 fight as Leon gains experience, picks up titles along the way. But look, he's corner trainers. Hudge just loves him, you know, like a son. It's a special relationship they got, and you know, when you're in a company of Leon, you know, you do feel warm around him.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
He's a nice guy. You know, he does have his say sometimes. Like I think he felt he was a bit. Was it the BoxNation Christmas party? He fought a few of the boxers.
Yeah, we had him on the show,
giving
didn't
him a wide berth at it, which wound him up a bit, but. I'm sure the fight of him and Zelfa, that is the one for BoxNation viewers down the line. That I'm sure.
Well, it's like they seem to be almost getting a little bit irritated at every time it's being asked, because in every interview someone is asking them about the other one. But that's how it starts. That's how the rivalry builds.
That's how it starts. And you know what, Pete? They're going to ask every other interview. They're going to ask because you know, you look at what's the most natural fight down the line for both of them. And it's both to fight. They both got similar background stories. You know, they both had it really hard with kids. They both absolutely live and breathe boxing. You know, their personalities are similar. It's almost like they are twins who are going to fight. And they must probably get agitated just as much with the rivalry being, well, not the rivalries getting built up, because they're being asked all the time the same question, and they become sick of hearing that name. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen an interview with Zelfa recently. I think it was John Parry actually, and John Parry just kept pushing it on him, and Zelfa was like, "Who are you talking about now?" Like, again, it was because he was being asked about. And it is the fight is going to. You speak to anybody. You know, you had the guy from behind the ropes there. I film, that's the fight they get asked about, because it's the one that is going to happen as long as they both remain unbeaten. And I see little at the moment of them getting beaten before they do meet. And I think what they're both aware of when they do meet, it has to be the right time for both of them, i.e. they're both getting paid well financially. Yeah.
There's no point doing it.
No point in doing it now. So if you did it now, Zelfa would be the one you'd fancy because of that extra experience. I know Leon would disagree with me, but that's the only reason I'm saying that, Leon. So when you see me and warn me next time, I'll regret saying that.
He'll get you. My favourite part of all of that interview, Steve, and I know Leon said some great stuff, he introduced you to a new term. It's all Gucci. Have you been using it since that?
Hey, you know what? My daughters use it.
Yeah,
it's all
really?
Gucci, yeah. And I took no notice of it. And then, of course, you know, kids have this thing. It's all Gucci.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. And when Leon said it, I thought, I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
I was at Frank Warren's office that day when Leon was up there.
Frank was saying it as well, was he?
No, Frank wasn't saying it. We'll get Frank to say it on here, though. We will. We'll do a Q&A and I'll get him to say it. And then come out there, went home, well, where I was staying in London, ran my daughters. I say, what does it all mean? This all good, this all good. I know what it means now. It's all good. So I say at home now, I'm picking up slang from the street kids.
You're very fortunate. You're spending time around these young street kids who can introduce you and keep you young, keep you fresh.
I hope you're not referring to yourself as a street kid.
What? Of course. I'm hood. I'm hip.
You're from the streets of Gillingham.
Yeah, absolutely. I learnt a new phrase the other day actually, and apparently it's been going for ages. But it was when I saw Anthony Yarde, and Anthony Yarde comes up to me, and rather than like a hello or a how you doing kind of thing, it's cheese, which I looked it up afterwards because Zelfa Barrett also said it, and it's like a soft J rather than a hard J. It's not G's as in like short for Jesus. It's like JHEEZ. Cheese, like that kind of thing.
You're teaching me street slang.
A few of the kids are saying it. Next time, Steve. Next time I say hello to you on this podcast, I want you to be like cheese, and maybe even like a little flick of the wrist. My man, right there. Now, a man that's got the boxing world collectively saying cheese is Miguel Berchelt. He was in action over the weekend live on BoxNation defending his WBC World Super Featherweight belt against late replacement Maxwell Owuku. The hard-hitting Mexican Berchelt knocked his man down 3 times in the 3rd round before forcing the stoppage. Steve, you were in the studio, am I right?
Yeah, I was in the studio.
What do you think of Berchelt? Good?
Berchelt's a very good fighter. You didn't really see it the other night. It was too easy. Maxwell Owuku was the 3rd choice opponent. I think he had about 2 weeks' notice. There was another Mexican whose name escaped. Well, name I can't think of. There was promotional problems there, so the fight fell through in January. A Filipino was in. The WBC sanctioned it, but a Filipino boxing board wouldn't let this guy fight.
Oh, right.
Because he'd only just won a fight, and he would be back in the ring too soon under Filipino rules. So they wouldn't let him travel. The hapless Owuku stepped in, and he tried.
Was that his nickname, the hapless Owuku?
Yeah, he was he was hapless. I felt sorry for him because you know what? He tried. But it was a gulf apart, and it was a mismatch. But saying that, the other Ghanaian, Habib Ahmed, last week, he was just on the back foot. He was still a better challenger than him. He tried, but every time he seemed to get caught, you could tell he was feeling the shots, and it was inevitable. Look, straight away almost. It was a case of how long he was going to last. Really, it was obvious he was going to be stopped. Berchelt, it was an easy night at the office. And he's a very good fighter. He showed when he won the title against Miura. Was it
Francisco Vargas?
Francisco Vargas, yeah. He can fight. He showed against Miura. He could box. And he's in a division there where he's the second. He's most probably the second best, and no one will argue that. But usually, you can never say he's number 1 because Lomachenko's still there.
Yeah.
But he's a very, very good fighter. Well, he is. I don't think he's going to be a great, but he's a good, solid world champion, and it will only lose to when he does lose, it'll be to a very good fighter.
You said how maybe he's second in the division, sort of consensus behind Lomachenko. What about if Gervonta Davis can still make 130?
If he can make it, we don't know what he's going to do. I doubt whether he can make that weight. If Gervonta goes and makes £130, yeah, but he's sort of signalled he's gonna. 1 minute you're hearing he's going to go to lightweight. Now, let's see what Gervonta weighs the next time he gets in the ring. Okay, let's put it this way: he's number 2. He's the number 2 active fighter in this division.
Fair comment. So, did you learn anything new about Berchelt? Anything you didn't know? For me, he seems a bit crude. Am I right?
No, I think he can box. We saw that against Miura. He can box. The other night we didn't learn anything except that he was head and shoulders above Maxwell Owuku. Look, Owuku. That was basically Owuku coming in and saving the show the other night for the fans in Cancun. That was his homecoming fight. I think it was the first time he'd fought in his home city, Cancun, for about 6 or 7 years since he'd last been at home. But there'll be tougher tests along the way, and I'm sure he knows that as well.
Just going back in time here, I remember when Berchelt first came to the attention of BoxNation viewers and to the UK was when he blitzed George Jupp. Now, George Jupp got that shot because he beat Mitchell Smith, so imagine how different this could have all been if Mitchell Smith had beaten George Jupp. Could have gone on to fight Birdshout, possibly, and
you wonder would he have gone on and fought Belcher in Mexico? Because at the time, he was a precocious talent. Mitchell Smith had taken the fight at 3 weeks' notice against Birdshow, like George Jupp did. I think they might have been on a collision course right now, but I don't think that would have happened when George Jupp fought in. George Jupp got that fight on the back of the Mitchell Smith win, and he deserved a big fight for it, and well done to him for getting it. But if Mitchell Smith had blasted out George Jupp, would the phone have been ringing for him to go to Mexico?
Good point.
No, and if he had been offered it, no, because there would have been other routes for him and getting him own advantage in a world title fight. And actually, you mentioned Mitchell Smith there. He's on my list to get for next week. You've just made the list, Mitchell.
We have to talk to Mitchell Smith because I want to know what he's up to. There's obviously been issues outside the ring, but he seems to be reforming, and I'm seeing a lot of tweets about "this is my year, I'm back," etc.
Well, you're sending me to go and find him this week.
Find him, dig him out. Let's see. Well, don't dig him out. Don't take the
If you want to start digging boxes out, you go and I'll tell you what. I'll get his number. You do this interview. You want to dig him out?
Absolutely not,
Mitchell. That was Dev that said that. I'll tell him what.
I don't want this work. I've got a glass chin, and I want to look good for Valentine's Day. So let's not mess about. So, Steve, it's that time of the week again. You look irritated. What's up? Are you okay, mate? What's up? What you talking about, Lillis?
You know what? Chris Eubank and his Twitter, well, he had to bring Nick Blackwell into it. What was he doing? I mean, look, it's a fight to sell, a fight that's going to do really well on pay-per-view anyway. That wasn't selling the fight, and to do that was crude, was rude, and you can see why people like Tyson Fury took offence. Anyone in boxing should take offence at that, and someone needs to take that Twitter off him in a fight build-up.
He's been relentless, hasn't he?
I know he's got a fight to sell, but you know what? That's the bad side of social networking, what he did there. That was an absolute disgrace. Surely the boxing board are going to do something about it.
Just talk us through it for people who haven't necessarily seen the tweet or the series of tweets. What's your understanding of?
Well, it was a warning to George Groves that you could end up a similar condition to Nick Blackwell, who ended up with a life-saving operation and bad brain injuries after losing to Chris Eubank Jr. To do that when someone's been laid stricken, and to dig that up is so underhand. It's so low, and that was poor of Chris. And it's not doing his son any good, because if you look at social media since, there's been a lot more wave of support for George Groves, and Eubank Jr. has done nothing wrong. He didn't do that tweet, so I think Chris should really take a step back from it all, and the board have got to take action. And you know what, Twitter's a great thing for boxing, to sell a fight. And for example, we've had the Maurice Hooker punch him in the mouth thing. Now I know you'll be knocking it out non-stop on Twitter, which is fantastic, that last big chant of it, and that's selling the fight superbly, warning what a man's going to do. But with social networking, we used to get these sort of things before social networking at press conferences, but never as regularly, because people put these things out before they engage their brain.
It's tweet before think.
Before think, and don't put anything on there you wouldn't say to something in somebody's face, which to me, this isn't at Chris, but a lot of faceless people do towards boxers.
Well, with these Eubank tweets, Eubank Senior, of course, is it this whole idea that he is putting pressure on referees by saying, "Hey, look, you need to be careful about George Groves," and then he can get a premature stoppage.
We see it. I hear about rule. You go in any rules meeting, there'll be a trainer. Joe Gallagher, for example, will always be saying to watch him doing this, watch him doing that, don't do this, don't do that, or if someone who gets cut. He gets cut quite a bit from head clashes. Don't you go stopping it. You put pressure on him at rules meetings. He's doing this in a way that isn't gamesmanship. The way you do it is, as you're at the rules meeting, you get a killology. You just privately put your arm around the referee who's at the rules meeting and say, "Hey, watch him tomorrow night if he starts getting hurt."
Is this almost like it's
that's
kind of
that's how you
pressure?
Play gamesmanship. It's almost like a football referee, a football manager saying to a referee before the game, "Hey, watch their time wasting late on when they're drawing or winning.
It just plants a seed, doesn't it?
There's ways of planting the seed. Going on Twitter and referring to a fight where your son left somebody with brain injuries is offside to me.
Nicely put, Steve. And just a quick word on that. So Eubank Jr. versus Groves, Saturday coming up.
Fantastic fight. Can't wait to see it. Whatever Eubank Senior's done or what, absolutely brilliant fight. Two very, very good fighters. It's not far from a spin of a coin fight. I'm just edging towards Groves. Very solid jab. He's bigger. His right hand's good. Eubank will get a chin check in this fight. People saying, look, he's got an iron chin, but he hasn't really been tested with heavy shots.
I saw Spike O'Sullivan rock him a little bit.
There's that. People were bringing this point up that you've just made there, Dev. And also a lot of people looking at his dad, Chris Eubank Sr., had one of the greatest chins ever in British boxing. It doesn't, hey, look, it might be in the genes, but I think Groves is the man to test it. And I'm just edging towards Groves, but it isn't a tip. It certainly isn't one of those I told you so tips if Eubank's hand is raised at the end of the fight. But absolutely fantastic fight, and good luck to all involved, and getting the sellout crowd at the Manchester Arena. And I hope it does good business on pay-per-view, because it is a fight that is pay-per-view worthy.
Well, in terms of a winner, you don't seem to be going with a lot of conviction, Steve. I'm going with Eubank Jr. with a late stoppage, to be discussed next week. Hands up if you like Friday night boxing. Steve Lillis' hands up. Producer Andrews, his hand's gone up as well, and my hand is up, and I'd imagine, listeners, that your hands are collectively up. Well, we have Friday night boxing this Friday, 12:30, just after midnight. Terry Flanagan's old WBO World Lightweight title will be on the line when Mexican veteran Raimundo Beltran takes on Namibian veteran Paulus Moses. Steve, it's the battle of the ex-Ricky Burns opponents. Break it down for me.
Battle of the ex-Ricky Burns opponents, and dare I say it with all respect to them both, they're fine fighters. Battle of the boxing dinosaurs. Incredible. Ray Beltran has been a pro for almost 19 years.
Wow.
Paulus has been a pro for over 15 years. Paulus is officially 39.
I heard you said officially there as well.
A couple months. Ray's 36, 37 this summer. They've had 85 fights between them. Quite incredible that they're fighting for the world title, the WBO lightweight title at this stage of their careers. Beltran thought he was the uncrowned champion when he was, shall we say, robbed against Ricky Burns. He should have got a decision that night.
Broke his jaw, only got a draw.
He then had that fight which has sort of tainted his career against Takahiro Ayo, when he thought he'd become WBO champion, but the fight was declared a no contest.
That the drugs.
He found a drug test, and quite rightly, he didn't get the title. He speaks openly about that it was a former member. He didn't know, he made a mistake. He just took a supplement he was told to take by somebody who's no longer in the team. And, that's a scar that stayed with him ever since then. And you think, for both of them, this is the last chance saloon. And, for Beltran, this is more than a world title. He still hasn't got his green card in America.
I remember hearing about this.
He still hasn't got it. He's had it he's been there most of his life. He's 3 children he's got. They only know life in Arizona. He's got 2 more years to get it, or he will have to go back to Mexico.
How do you get a green card?
The actual word is extraordinary. You have to be an extraordinary athlete to get that. And I was talking to Lee Samuels, the press officer at Top Rank for Bob Arum about this last week, and that they're hopeful that if he finally becomes a world champion, that will get him the green card, and he won't, otherwise he faces 2 years of hell waiting to get this green card. It's a really tough time for him. I actually think, this means so much to him, this title, not just the belt, but getting his future in America. He loves Mexico. He's proud to be Mexican, but he's been in America most of his life. His kids are American.
That's an incredible
story. So he could have to
story.
leave the country, and I dare say, because they were born there, they'd be able to stay.
Wow.
So it's a real tricky situation that he's in. But it seems if he wins this world title, it should open the door to get this green card. And this has been going on for some time, that he needs a world title to get his green card. Even before the AO fight, this was going on.
So, Steve, are you suggesting here that because he will win the WBO, if he does win the WBO World Lightweight title, the US government will look at that title and be like, yeah, that's enough. But if he was to win an interim world title, would they be like, oh, it's only interim?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Is that how it works?
In Trump's America, who knows what goes on there? I mean, who knows? But I'm going by what, Top Rank have been saying, what he's been speaking about openly. I forget the visa he's on at the moment, but he's got around another 2 years he can be on that visa. Then he's got to get his green card within the next 2 years.
That's quite
and of course, having a world title and going around, you're earning revenue, which means you're earning good revenue, so you're paying good IRS money. That helps you get your ticket.
There's an amusing thought there of someone winning a world title and maybe it's a regular, and the US government going, oh, sorry mate, that's only a regular title. There's a super champion in the division as well, so bring him along, we'll let him stay.
I don't know what the US government would think if they found out there's about 8 world champions in some of these weight classes.
Well, tell me about Paulus Moses then. Does he need a miracle of biblical proportions, dare I say, Steve Lillis?
I'm not sure it's quite that extreme, Dev, but you certainly got to, favour the home man, shall we say? Although it's in Reno, is it in Reno the fight?
Yeah.
You got to favour the home man. I mean, I think he's had a no contest and 5 wins on the spin. He lost an international title fight against Malcolm Klassen, and I think that I'm not sure might have been in Namibia that fight. So he in his own backyard. And Klassen is you'd fancy Beltran to beat Klassen, but you know what? So you think the odds are stacked in Beltran's favour, but he only come away with a majority decision, I think, in his last fight when he beat Brian Vasquez, who isn't the worst in the world. I haven't seen that fight, so I don't know whether it was a robbery or whether it was a majority decision where he won every round, or it was fair or not the majority. So so look, you've got to think it's Beltran's to lose.
You had a chat with Beltran as well, and I believe you were telling me off air, Terry Flanagan's name is in his mouth.
Yeah, he was someone who, like Maurice Hooker, he wasn't quite saying, I'm going to punch him in the mouth. He was more saying, Terry Flanagan's soft and doesn't fight anybody.
What's all the hate for Terry Flanagan? Where's all this come from?
You can't have the hate for Terry Flanagan. And what I'll do with that, Dev, I will... Later this week, before the fight, I'll knock together the quotes so people can see what Beltran actually said about Terry Flanagan.
Well, let's put these quotes under the nose of Terry Flanagan as well, and let's see what Turbo's got to say for himself. For me,
Terry say what he likes.
For me, Turbo, by the way, has come out of his shell a little bit. I know he's always been quite withdrawn. He's been on this, I was going to say holiday. He's been on this camp out in Fuerteventura with Domingo and Billy Joe Saunders, Kid Galahad, Kell Brook. And he took over the BoxNation Instagram last week, and he was talking, he was having fun, he was bantering away with the boys as well. Kid Galahad, he was saying, if you ever take me on anything, you're always going to be second best, kid. All of this sort of stuff. Where's this Turbo come from, eh?
Yeah, I did see some of that stuff, and I saw there was something he was beating them at as well, or something.
Yeah, they were cycling around up in the mountains.
So that brings out the competition, and look, the 2 weeks out there for Terry was just about getting his fitness up before he goes to camp. And from what Billy Joe Saunders tells me, you can't be around Kid Galahad and not have a laugh and a joke. They tell me for a practical joke, he's worse than Billy Joe, which takes some beating.
Yeah, that is some going. Well, back to Beltran Moses. That fight will be live on BoxNation at 12:30. That's just after midnight on Friday night. If you want to watch that and all the other great fights that we've got coming up in the BoxNation schedule, subscribe to the channel. Just go to BoxNation.com, press a few buttons. Before you know it, you'll have the Channel of Champions in your living room or on your tablet, because we've got watch.boxnation.com as well. It's all there. So go along and get involved. Now, Steve, something I wanted to just mention. There was a promo video that went out during the week. Lee Selby, Josh Warrington. Have you seen it?
Yeah, anger.
Yeah.
Ill feeling.
Ooh, ire.
Hate from Josh Warrington with his, you don't even speak properly.
Yeah.
Oh, was there bad feeling from Josh on that? I mean, we thought Josh was giving it going into overdrive at the press conference at Ellen Road a couple of weeks ago in front of his fans. when they were facing each other on the field at Ellen Road, that was fantastic. And I'll tell you what, that's the sort of, that is British beef.
Mm.
Premium
British beef.
There is bad feeling, particularly from Josh's side.
There's a line that he's said a few times, which makes me chuckle every time. You aren't a bad man. You're from Barry Island. So what do you make of that? Because Barry Jones has been saying Barry Island is actually full of bad men.
It's a bad place.
Yeah.
And look, there's some lovely people down there. I was down there filming before Christmas.
Right.
You go on the beachfront, and it's nice, beautiful.
Sure.
But you walk away from that, it's a tough blue collar place. Yeah. It's a really real hard place, and certainly every bit as tough as what areas of West Yorkshire are. And it certainly hasn't got the luxuries of all the lovely things that are in Leeds city centre. People see Barry and think of it being a holiday area because of the famous Butlins that was there for years.
Right.
There's nothing of the sort. There's it's like so many places in Britain. It is a hard place where people struggle to get by.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Well, Lee Selby versus Josh Warrington is, of course, on May the 19th. It was recently confirmed that the fight will take place at Elland Road, the home of Josh Warrington's beloved Leeds United. Tickets went on sale earlier on this week, so if you want to get tickets, want to go along, it's going to be a great night. Steve Lillis will be there, won't you, Steve?
I'll be there, and I'm here.
Yeah.
I had the tickets, the pre-sale last week. They were flying out the window that day. So I don't know numbers, but I'm just told. I spoke to Josh Warrington's manager, Steve Wood, and we were chatting football over the weekend, and he just said, "Oh, by the way, I think they did well on the tickets on pre-sale. They went very, very well, which is encouraging. And let's hope there's a bumper crowd inside Elland Road Stadium that night, because it's a fight that deserves it."
Well, tickets are on sale at leedsunited.com, which is obviously the Leeds football site. One thing I've been thinking about, Steve, now this is an idea that I am going to throw around in the office, but hey, let me just throw it out there here. I want to see some sort of sponsored bike ride or something between the towns of Selby and Warrington. How often is it that you get a world title fight where both of the fighters' surnames are actually places in the UK? How about that?
Well, I won't get Josh and Lee to cycle.
Maybe the dads.
Maybe the dads could cycle. But
would you do it?
Where have you Selby to Warrington on a bike? No, I don't like. I go out on my bike, but that sort of distance is a little bit too far for me. Selby, you're going from, I think, virtually, is it West or East Yorkshire way?
I have no idea.
Well, Selby's well the other side of Leeds,
right.
And Warrington is halfway between Liverpool and Manchester.
Selby is near Leeds.
It's not too far from Leeds. Not sure how far. And Warrington is between Manchester and I think they're called the Woolly-backs, because they're between. Scousers think they're Mancunians think they're Scousers. So they're like people from Warrington are sort of like people with no home, those to attach themselves to.
Well, the plot thickens, Steve. The plot thickens. I'll throw that idea around. I'll say that Steve Lillis has volunteered to do some sort, maybe even a run. Just get out there and have a run. You're doing your marathon training, aren't you?
Warrington.
Yeah.
Die. Give me 2 weeks to do it, 10 miles a day, and put me in a luxury hotel every night, Mr. Sarni, and I'll do it.
Let's see what we can do. And just a quick shout out as well to the other fights that Frank Warren has got coming up. So that's May 19th, Elland Road, Leeds, Selby, Warrington, strong, yeah? And a couple of weeks before that, April 21st, Belfast, SSE Arena. It is going to be packed. Carl Frampton against Nonito Donaire. Donaire's won world titles in 4 weights, 5 weights. He's a legend. You excited about that one?
Yeah, great fight. You know what? For the winner, there's a world title fight. For the loser, you won't say. For Nonito, you think, where does he go? Someone like Carl loses here, he's suddenly 18 months down the queue. Will he want to wait 18 months? So you could say it's all or nothing for both of them. Absolutely. As big a fight you'll see anywhere in the world first half of this year where there's not a title at stake, or not a world title at stake. It's a big fight, big night in a big fight city.
And there are, very nicely put there, Steve. There are still some tickets available. I mean, these is, not many at all.
I've heard, Dev. You can get
Ramo.
tickets, but
Yeah.
If you are going to get them, I'd get them in the next couple of weeks because it will be sold out very soon, I understand.
Well, if you do want to go, pause the podcast and log on right now to frankwarren.com, follow a couple of links on there, and get yourself along to Belfast. The atmosphere will be second to none. Now, here's some dates and times that you want to punch into your calendar over the next few days. Wednesday, Valentine's Day, 7 p.m. What better way to spend your evening than to let a tank into your living room? We look back on Gervonta Davis versus Liam Walsh from May last year, which was the young American at his best. What a night that was, Steve.
Fantastic night, wasn't it? Copper Box was packed. Floyd Mayweather was in town.
Wow.
He was the madness around him all week, as he always is with Floyd. He just sort of brings madness, craziness, come over with an army of people. There were people there who thought Liam Walsh had a great chance. You can say Liam Walsh didn't turn up on the night, and people who were close to Liam Walsh, his promotional team, were disappointed in the performance. But you got to say the tank, Gervonta Davis, was fantastic that night, and I just hope he gets his career going again, Davis. I really do. I hate to be him to turn into the second coming of Adrian Broner, which is a danger of.
They keep getting pictured together as well, which is
and all
worrying.
I keep seeing is picture of Davis with different cars all the time, and at the end of the day, he hasn't made enough to be driving a catalogue of flash cars. So get back in the gym, get down to your fighting weight, and get back, Gervonta. The boxing wants the tank.
Yes, we definitely want the tank. Interesting story from Fight Week. I remember that Fight Week so well because Mayweather was in town, Leonard Ellaby, all these guys that you see on TV. And at the weigh-in, Gervonta missed the weight a couple of times. And I was on the stage, recording on my iPhone to put it up on the BoxNation Twitter. And the second time, he dropped his drawers to make sure he made the weight. And I was filming it from the waist up, no funny business. And Leonard Ellaby catches me filming it, and he's like, "Hey, you can't film that!" And he just kind of throws my phone out of my hand, and I've still got the video somewhere on my phone. It's quite a fantastic moment. But that's what I'll remember Davis Walsh Fight Week for, being almost accused of filming Gervonta Davis below the waist.
You were accused of filming him below the waist. It sounds like,
but I'm innocent.
I didn't say he was innocent.
I've got the video.
But you were accused.
Friday, 7 o'clock. Guess who's back? Steve Bunce is back, and that will be Bunce's Boxing Hour. It will be live. Steve, you said you're going to see Daniel Dubois. Does that mean he's going to be on Bunce's Boxing Hour?
Possibly. Yeah, this week we're going to do some filming this week. I think we'll be on it this week. Nathan Gorman. We're going to see Nathan Gorman this week before I head back. I'm rushing down to London to see Anthony Yarde and Daniel Dubois. So they're not used this week. They'll be on next week. But I certainly think the Nathan Gorman interview will be used this week because he has got a rivalry building very nicely.
And he's been added to
Dubois, and he's been added to that. And you know what? I think it's fantastic that him and Dubois are on the same bill. And you keep them on the same bills together for another few months. The fight simmers nicely and happens.
I'll tell you what,
it does happen as well.
I think it has to. Gorman's got a lot to say about Dubois. You press him on it, he'll start talking.
I spoke to him before. I think we had him on the podcast talking about
exactly.
when they was in their time in Sheffield together. So there's certainly sort of hey, I was talking to somebody today, and Gorman really fancies that as a fight he will win. I mean, he should do, but he's not far from overconfident, I understand.
Interesting. Well, hopefully he is on Bunce's Boxing Hour Friday at 7 o'clock. That will be free to air on Sky Channel 437. We'll also try and get that live on Facebook for you. Now, straight after Bunce's Boxing Hour, it'll be the World Series of Boxing. The GB Lionhearts are in action against Croatia. Steve?
Yeah.
You look excited.
Well, it's the pure Lionhearts in Paris the other. Was it in Paris against the French Roosters the other week? Mate.
What are the Croats called?
I don't know.
The Croatian.
They're the new team. The Croatian team.
I'm not sure. Producer Andrew, go on. Give us a steer. What are the Croatian Knights? Have alliteration. I mean, if you
Croatian Knights. I've got a feeling they're the new team. It's up in Gateshead. They're taking the WSB on the road this year. It has been at York Hall for a few years, where it's gone down really well and got some big crowds in. But there's been a call to take it on the road. It's going to Gateshead, Liverpool and Newport. But I watched the WSB the other week when the poor Lionhearts, a couple of them are absolutely shafted in Paris. So let's hope they don't get that again this week. But that's good TV, and it's a fantastic. If you're not familiar with the WSB, it's a fantastic competition and a great grounding for fighters before they turn over with professional promoters.
Well, don't go out on Friday, because we've already told you, Bunce's Boxing Hour at 7, WSB at 8. How about 10:30? Lee Selby, fighter by trade. Now, Steve, no one knows this show better than you. You were there with him, filming it with him, doing interviews. All of his chickens. Did you interview his chickens?
No, never interviewed the chickens.
No.
The chickens. But you know what? I've done a few of these fighter by trades, and I make no secret that's the one I've enjoyed doing the most.
Yeah.
We did it all in a day, and he's trainer Tony Borg, Tony's son Junior Borg, the whole lot of them. Lee's his two daughters were there, his wife. Really, really impressive people to deal with, and really enjoyed our day down there, myself and Andy Cook.
Well, that's Friday at 10:30. Friday at 12:30, as we discussed, is Beltran versus Moses, and that's for the vacant WBO World Lightweight title. Friday Night Boxing returns to BoxNation. Subscribe to BoxNation at boxnation.com. No minimum contract, cancel whenever you like. It's all very, very easy. It's just like Netflix in a way. Steve, let me give you an update here on referee Steve Willis. Now, no reply to my LinkedIn message, no reply to my Facebook message. I'm struggling, but I've found another avenue. And you know how? It has emerged that he has his own YouTube channel. Yeah? How many referees do you know who have their own YouTube channel?
One, Steve Willis.
And
you just told me.
And do you know why? Because before he was a referee, he was a stand-up comedian.
I watched this last night.
It's all making sense now, isn't it?
Not my sort of humour, but I saw a couple of people saying we need Lillis.
Willis,
so we've got to try and track him down, Dev.
I mean, I was going to play some of the comedy on it. I hadn't actually pressed play and watched it first. I was going to say, that's a good way to start the show.
If we don't trace him in the next 7 days, we'll play a joke of these next week.
Yeah, but to be honest, I mean, you have to kind of be into that type of humour. To be honest, I played it last night. I was like, good way to start the podcast, and then it's kind of gets a bit sort of racial and stuff. So I don't know if we can.
We'll swerve that.
We'll swerve that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start replying to all of his YouTube videos and just saying, "Oh, great video, Steve. Get in touch, that kind of thing. You're great. You're really funny. You should go back into it after boxing refereeing." And let's see if we can coax him out that way. Now, leave us a review as well. Don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes, and that's going to help with the visibility of the show and keep us alive. Steve, have you enjoyed yourself? Are you going to punch me in the mouth?
No, I'm not going to punch him in the mouth. I want to hear that again, though, before we sign off for the week.
I'm sure we will. Well, we had Lyon Woodstock we heard from as well. Some exciting stuff coming up for him. He's got a new 3-year deal with Frank Warren. We heard from the light heavyweights, but the most entertaining part of the show was undoubtedly Maurice Hooker.
Maurice Hooker.
Maurice Hooker. Oh God, forgive me, Maurice. Don't punch me in the mouth. I'm really looking forward to him coming over in Fight Week. Remember to tweet us any comments at BoxNation TV, at Steve Lillis, and at Sarnie Dev. I've been Dev Sarnie.
I've been Steve Lillis.
And you've been listening to the BoxNation podcast. Thanks, guys.
I hope he got a good mouthpiece. I'm gonna punch him in the mouth, 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 punch him in the mouth. I'm gonna punch him in the mouth.